Digital ethics goes beyond black letter law and highlights the underlying principles and values of data protection. Principles and values will help to guide the practical application of the law and to find creative solutions for unexpected problems that often arise in the context of new technologies. Technologies are global, and the law, also EU law, is tied to a jurisdiction. The principles and values of data protection are also global. It can help to build bridges with other jurisdictions. However, we must focus on responsibility. Who is responsible for what? And on the nature and scope of that responsibility. In a wider sense of accountability for all actions that may have an impact on the privacy of individuals. In digital ethics, we must make a further step. Responsibility for processing must be made much more proactive. Privacy by design is also a key principle for very good reasons.
What can mean and bring privacy to society, to citizens in our internet age? More and more, ICT appear as a second nature. Let us be clear, internet is a chance. It's a chance for our liberties, giving to each of us the possibility to join the entire world, to express ourselves and to be heard everywhere. It must be clear that more and more ICT raise new fundamental serious questions like dignity and social justice. Dignity is not respected when individuals are considered a simple tool and not as an end per se. So I am afraid that dignity is injured, notably by certain profiling techniques, but at the service of marketing system which reduce people to predetermined profile. As regards social justice, can we consider that this principle is respected when the profiling system hinder a priori the access to service or products by people according to their profiles? Can we consider that social justice is respected when the mutualization and thus the solidarity, which was a characteristic of the insurance sector, is more and more disappearing due to the one-to-one approach promoted by the technologies?
This is a unique moment in history. If we want companies and governments to act ethically, we need a level playing field. Otherwise, companies are pushed out of the market and governments are sort of forced to compete with surveillance technologies. The upcoming General Data Protection Regulation has the capacity to enforce such a level playing field. And that means that now we should start requiring companies and governments to behave ethically within the bounds of this regulation and to discuss and think about what such ethical behavior means.
Well, dignity is notoriously hard to define, but the board should try to settle quickly on a workable meaning that can give clear guidance for practice. But actually, protecting my dignity and freedoms involves protecting everyone's. Why? Because these are public goods that are essential for society, and they're not simply individual preferences. And it's also important to consider equality. Who gets what dignity or privacy, and who doesn't? Now, so far, data protection theory and practice doesn't really grasp these points. And I think that impact assessment could therefore be extended to include the effects on dignity and also to consider the ethical implications of creating privacy haves and privacy have-nots. And therefore, the board should try to think fresh but practical thoughts on these matters so that it can help in the implementation of the new regulation.
I hope that the Ethics Advisory Group will address the following questions. How can we protect the privacy of the elderly, of people with disabilities, and of people who are less digitally proficient? Should privacy be treated also as a group right, so that, for example, the dignity of a family or of an ethnic or religious group may be protected? And could a European code of practice be developed to support data donation for research purposes? All my best wishes for a constructive debate.